Detective James Cooper stood at the edge of Shadow Vale Valley, his experienced eyes scanning the misty landscape below. 3 people had vanished in this valley over the past month, and the local police were baffled. Each disappearance had occurred on a full moon night, leaving behind only a strange symbol carved into a tree, a circle with a diagonal line through it. "Any theories, Detective?" Officer Martinez asked, joining him at the lookout point. "The pattern is too precise to be random," Cooper replied, pulling out his notebook. "All victims were hikers. All disappeared between 9 p.m. and midnight, and all were alone." The valley had a dark history. Local legends spoke of an ancient curse, but Cooper didn't believe in supernatural explanations. 20 years as a detective had taught him that human motives were usually behind seemingly mysterious crimes. Back at his temporary office in the local police station, Cooper spread out the evidence photos. The victims, Michael Chen, a photographer, Lisa Thompson, a biology teacher, and David Parker, a retired mailman, seemed to have nothing in common except their love for night hiking. Cooper's attention was drawn to the symbol again. Something about it seemed familiar. After hours of research, he found that the symbol matched the logo of a defunct mining company that had operated in the valley 30 years ago. The Valley Mining Corporation went bankrupt in 1994, Cooper told Officer Martinez. They had to shut down after 3 workers died in a cave-in. The company was found negligent, but the owner, Gerald Matthews, disappeared before facing charges. That night, under the full moon, Cooper and Martinez set up surveillance around the valley. They didn't have to wait long. At 10:30 p.m., they spotted a figure in dark clothing moving through the trees, carrying what looked like climbing equipment. They followed silently. The figure led them to a hidden cave entrance, partially covered by vegetation. Cooper signaled Martinez to call for backup while he continued tracking the suspect. Inside the cave, Cooper found a shocking sight. The 3 missing hikers were alive, tied up in a large chamber filled with old mining equipment. Before he could reach them, a voice spoke from behind. "You're more clever than the local police, Detective." Cooper turned to face an elderly man holding a hunting rifle. It was Gerald Matthews, aged but recognizable from old photographs. "The company took everything from me," Matthews said. "My reputation, my fortune, my freedom. Now I'm taking something from this valley that destroyed me, its peace of mind." Each victim would have been released eventually, just scared enough to spread stories about the valley's curse. "And the symbol?" Cooper asked, stalling for time as he heard distant sirens. "A reminder of what was stolen from me. These caves still hold gold, Detective. I've been mining it secretly all these years. The hikers were getting too close to discovering my operation." Suddenly, Officer Martinez's voice echoed through the cave. "Police! Drop your weapon." Matthews, startled, turned toward her voice. Cooper seized the moment, tackling the old man and disarming him as the backup team rushed in. Later, as paramedics checked the rescued hikers, Cooper watched Matthews being led away in handcuffs. "How did you know to look into the mining company?" Martinez asked. Cooper smiled. The symbol was too deliberate, too specific. "In my experience, when someone leaves a calling card, they want to be understood, even if only subconsciously." Matthews wasn't just taking revenge on the valley. He was trying to make his mark on a place that had erased him. The next morning, Cooper stood again at the valley overlook. The mist was clearing, revealing a peaceful landscape that had finally given up its dark secret. The case of the Valley of Fear was closed, adding another solved mystery to Cooper's long career. As he walked back to his car, Cooper reflected that while the valley might have held gold, the real treasure had been uncovering the truth, as it always was in his line of work. Some called him old-fashioned for believing that every mystery had a rational explanation. But this case had proved him right once again. In the end, it wasn't an ancient curse that had haunted Shadowvale Valley, but simply a man whose fear had turned to bitterness, and whose bitterness had turned to crime.